Welcome to day 340 of our DeSo journey. I'm Ed Krasenstein here with my twin brother Brian, and today's the 1-year anniversary of DeSo. Brian, you got to talk when you do that, or we can't hear it.
You can't yell at me for that because this is definitely a time to celebrate.
Yeah, but we couldn't hear it because you weren't talking when you were doing it.
This is definitely time to celebrate.
There you go. Yeah, so 1-year anniversary. I'm super excited. We actually have a lot to talk about today. Remember, these videos are sponsored by NFT Tech. They are an investor in Cloudfeed. So 1 year ago today, March 1st, was the first block mined on the new fork BitCloud. So let me start off and give you a bit of a history lesson here. So on January 18th, 2021, a year and almost 3 months or 2 months ago, BitCloud's first block was mined, January 18th. But that was the old, before it got forked. So like all that stuff in the real Genesis block is kind of vanished. Like we don't actually have access to that anymore. But the second block, which is the first block in the new fork, which is current day DeSo, was mined March 1st, 2021. And after that, it sped up and there was, blocks began being mined right every few minutes, I guess, after that. And I guess I shouldn't say every few minutes, but it was quickly after that. So March 1st, 2021, the first block as we know it was mined on BitCloud at the time. There was just one transaction in that block. It was an account with a weird username. It was, I don't even remember what it was. It started with like an 8 and it had a bunch of different letters. And that account doesn't exist anymore, but it received a block reward, I believe. So that was the first block, one account making one transaction. The second block, which is officially the second/third block, I guess, if you want to include the previous hard fork, that included several interesting accounts. It included an account that's now called Old Naval, like Naval, Master, which I'm going to talk about a little bit in a minute. It also had I Am Cardi B, A+, which is Ashton Kutcher, Justin Bieber, and Katy Perry. And those accounts actually updated their profiles and bought their own coin. But I don't think they were real accounts. I think it was just the reserved accounts that were being set up at the time. It's possible that A+ was legitimate. I'm not sure. That account's not reserved or verified right now, so it's kind of hard to tell if that's really his account. But the first transaction, other than the block reward, was an account called FFFFF. It was 15 Fs, and it transferred a small amount of DeSo, and that amount of DeSo went to an anonymous account. Later that day, that anonymous account used that DeSo it received, because you need DeSo in order to update your profile, used that DeSo to rename his account to Chamath Palihapitiya, the head of Social Capital. So that was like the first transaction. Chamath was actually involved in the first ever DeSo transaction, which I find very interesting.
That's interesting.
We know he was an initial investor. And then the account Master sent him about 16 DeSo. I think it was 16.26 DeSo, which Chamath then used to buy his own coin. And then this happened again. FFF sent a very minute payment, fraction of a DeSo, to R.R. Hoover, who's a founder of Product Hunt, Tyler, which is Tyler Winklevoss, and a few other accounts. And then Master also sent them between 14 and 17 DeSo so that they could buy their own coin. So it's just such an interesting history that I don't think anybody's really talked about in the past.
Yeah, you really kind of think back, and it doesn't seem like it's been only a year. I think that in 10 years from now, we're going to be talking about the same thing, and some of the people that were involved, some of the accounts that were involved. So it's good to kind of follow this history, because I think if DeSo does explode and become this huge blockchain, this history is going to definitely matter, and people are going to dissect it like they dissect the history of Bitcoin in that first block of transactions.
Yeah, and also that first day on March 1st, Alexis Ohanian, the co-founder of Reddit, signed up to DeSo. And it wasn't until like between March 12th and like March 24th, which is the first day of the official private beta launch of DeSo, that some of the OGs began signing up. Even Diamond Hands, he didn't even sign up until March 12th. I assume Master and FFF were technically him, but the account Diamond Hands signed up on March 12th. Arts signed up on March 12th. Jake Udell and Raj Lahoti signed up on March 12th. So all those original OGs, it took them about 11 days to actually get an account signed up on DeSo after that first block was mined. And Brian and I, we didn't sign up until March 24th, which was 12 days after that. And 20.
We were late.
Yeah, we were
really
late,
late.
I guess you could say. And if you go back to Twitter, the first mention of DeSo on Twitter was March 8th. Somebody, I forget what the username was, but they said, #BitClout. That's all, or something like that. And then you began over the course of the next week to 2 to 3 weeks, before the March 24th private beta launch, you began seeing people posting stuff on Twitter, like, how do I get the password? Because when you signed up to BitClout before that March 24th date, you just got a message saying, welcome to BitClout blockchain. Welcome to the BitClout blockchain. A password is required to access this node. And I remember searching Twitter, Brian and I, to try and find a URL that would have that password in it. And I think we finally did. I think we did it right before the private beta launched on the 24th.
Yeah, I remember that pretty well. We got the password, we signed in, we created an account. I actually created an account and it was just me. Our profile picture is a picture of myself. And then I told Ed about it and he's like, why don't we just create a dual account? We can both do it together instead of creating an account for each of us. So that's what we did. I changed my profile picture and that's history.
Yeah, we learned about from Jake Udell, right, Brian?
Yeah, in the Clubhouse.
Yeah, Jake Udell was in a Clubhouse room talking. We were in an NFT Clubhouse room and Jake Udell was there talking about NFTs, but he also said, hey guys, you gotta hear this new blockchain that's popping up. It's called BitClout. And he went on and on about it. And we're like, oh, wow, that sounds awesome. We gotta figure out how we can get on here. But yeah, so that's that. There's us also, I just want to say happy anniversary, especially to all the OGs who have stuck around. So many have left. And to all the new people who have come in and joined the community. We plan on being here for another 10 years. Hopefully you guys do too. But let's move on to Bad Santa's DeSo's Got Talent 2022 winner is in, Brian. The winner is in.
So the month's over with. It's been the month of the DeSo's Got Talent 2022 by Bad Santa. It came down to 5 people. So there was Rheinelf, Goldberry, William Laurent, Oh La La, and Fantastic Woman. And these were the 5 finalists. They all received $100 in DeSo. They're vying for the $500 grand prize. And we have a grand prize winner. And the winner is Rheinelf. So congrats, Rheinelf walks away with $500.
Rheinelf. You deserve it. You had a great video. Great. It was a video, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a video. Ed and I were actually in the movie Avatar in this video. So that was kind of cool. There's a lot of other people that were in it, a lot of OGs, but he did a great job. He's been very consistent throughout the month, submitting and winning a lot of these competitions. But the runners up, they definitely need to have a shout out. Goldberry, William Laurent, Oh La La, and Fantastic Woman. It's important to note that Fantastic Woman made her video and her entry in the midst of war. So she lives in Ukraine. It's a scary situation. So I mean, mad props to her. I like the fact that she even participated in this. I can't say enough about that. So congrats to all of them. And thanks for everybody who participated. I know that it created a lot of engagement and was a really interesting way to kind of engage the community, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I know Matreshka really wanted to say thanks to Fantastic Woman as well, because of all the work she put in while in war. And, you know, the judges voted based on what they thought the best creation was, but Fantastic Woman definitely deserves extra credit for what she had to endure. And I think, you know, if we voted on this, where we voted on it where, like difficulty to create the project also factored in. Fantastic Woman would definitely be the winner, hands down. But that's not what we voted on. So I know Matreshka was kind of saddened that Fantastic Woman didn't win the award. So if anybody wants to, reach out to Fantastic Woman, maybe throw her some extra, winnings, you could call it. Feel free
Diamonds.
some diamonds. Yeah, that'll be great. Also, yesterday, Alex Velatis, he gave an update on the development grant status for the development grant teams. As you're aware, I think it was like 20 or so teams got development grants a couple months ago. I guess it's been a couple months, maybe it was a month ago or so, 1 to 2 months ago.
It's been a few months.
Yeah, so they got those grants, but he did note that there are some teams who have not been active and have not actually fulfilled on their promises to build. And what DeSo did when they handed out these grants was that they gave half the money up front and the other half was dependent on whether you actually move forward and continue to develop. So he did note that some teams did not get that second half of the money. That money essentially just goes back into the Octane fund to go to other teams. And he also noted that 3 to 4 other teams have gotten new grants in the last 2 weeks. So that's great. He didn't mention the teams, but I'm sure we'll be hearing from them soon.
Yeah, and I think it's important that they're doing it this way. Of course, with any funding of any projects, you have the worry that you're going to fund this project, especially when it has to do with a grant and it's not equity. You're just basically giving money to a project and saying, hey, do as you choose with this money. And with DeSo being a little bit slower lately, I think some of these projects might have dropped out and said, hey, we're not doing this anymore. And it's important that they did it this way where they gave half and half, because otherwise they would have been out the full amount. And they can use that other half to fund other projects that are more serious and who have the staying power, hopefully. And to all those groups that did drop out, I think I think when you take grant money, I think it's important that you kind of try and follow through. That's all I had to say about that.
Yeah, definitely. Cloudpunk, early this morning, they launched 1,000 Ukraine NFTs, the Cloudpunk version for Ukraine, and has 0% royalties, and all of the proceeds are going to go to the Ukraine Bitcoin address. There's a Ukraine Bitcoin address that has been set up for anybody who wants to donate money to Ukraine in their war effort against Putin. So Cloudpunk launches with 1,000. I know a bunch of them have sold so far. Brian and I got number 2. I think Nigel got number 1, and I know Tyne got 1, and several others have already gotten them. So definitely check that out. It's definitely it's a 1 DeSo cost, and all that money goes to Ukraine. So it's definitely worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like seeing all these initiatives by various NFT artists and even non-NFT artists who are just trying to figure out ways that they can contribute and help Ukraine. So the DeSo community is great at that, and they haven't let us down.
Yeah, so GDS and DeSocial World, and Ado, of course, with DeSocial World, are working to create 2 more galleries. And so one gallery is going to have NFTs from Ukrainian creators only. The other gallery is going to be filled with donated NFTs from anyone, and any proceeds from NFTs being sold in that gallery are going to go to Ukrainian creators. So it's a great way to, get some money to some of the great Ukrainian creators on DeSo with the hardships they're going through right now. Definitely check that out. I think it's launching soon. I was talking to Ado this morning, and he's super excited about what potential this provides to the Ukrainian community.
Yeah, just another great project. And like I said before, the DeSo community is great at doing things like this, coming together, and GDS is awesome as well.
Yeah, so Highkey had an announcement yesterday, Brian.
Yeah, so as you know, Highkey, they onboard celebrities to DeSo. They've been doing it since pretty much the beginning. They also work with celebrities on Instagram to do promotions and whatnot. But as you recall, maybe a few months ago, they had this big promotion with Floyd Mayweather, where he actually did a DeSo promotion on his Instagram to all of his followers. Well, Highkey says that they're working with actress Ruby Rose, and her 3 million followers on Instagram, they're going to put out a DeSo promo with her on her Instagram stories. So 3 million people are going to hear from Ruby Rose about DeSo. Way to go, Highkey. I love seeing this, and I hope we see more of this in the future.
Yeah, great job, Highkey. The Lintz brothers, they're the Lintz brothers. Reed posted a photo of him having dinner with Dylan Jagger-Lee and Alex Villegas last night. So it's great to see that group of guys together talking DeSo. I know Alex reposted it saying they're talking about DeSo. It looked like they were eating maybe some sushi or something. But yeah, they're all great guys, and I'm glad to see them back together talking again.
Yeah, I saw the photo. I saw Reed also posted that he's out to dinner. So yeah, I mean, Alex, I think, posted that they're out to dinner. So I love seeing these guys together. They're young, they're brilliant. I think they have kind of I think they understand where we are in Web3, and it's good to see them together and kind of mulling over ideas, I assume, about DeSo.
Yeah, exactly. So yesterday, Mubs made a post asking Natter some questions, and Natter replied addressing those questions. And Natter said that they are currently working to move Postgres away from beta. They want to move away from being a beta thing and more toward being a bulletproof production thing. And that they will know for sure after Hypersync is merged if it's actually possible to move it in that direction. He's hopeful. He thinks it's going to work, but
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, because we love Postgres. NFTZ's using Postgres. I think we want Postgres. He also said derived keys have been delayed, because Mubs talked about them being delayed, but he said that you can track the progress on GitHub, and also Malsified and Lazy Nina have created a mock-up of derived keys. And he posted a screenshot of that mock-up. It does look very interesting. You're going to have all kinds of permissions for apps to, give certain permissions to different people, to allow the apps to have certain permissions and accessing certain things, certain amounts of DeSo, etc. So I think that's all great. He also said that the weekly dev town hall is coming. He mentioned this a while ago. Mubs asked what the status of that was. Natter said he's been working heads down, and the team's been super busy, but they do still plan on having that developer town hall, and it's going to be coming soon.
Yeah, all great, important updates by Natter. Hopefully you hear more soon about derived keys, and of course that dev meeting, or that dev town hall is important just for developers to kind of communicate with one another and talk to the core team as well.
Yep. And Jordan, he had an announcement, right?
Yeah, so it all started yesterday. Alton Bass, they posted one of their graphics, but this graphic was the most followed users over the last 7 days. And something that was pretty clear here is that the majority of those people, besides maybe Natter and Diamond Hands and Dharmesh, were venture capitalists and like some of those early investors in that list. And most of those people aren't active anymore. So why did they get all those followers in the last week? BitDads pointed out that the reason is because those are the suggested follow list from diamondapp. And when you sign up, it suggests who you follow. And that list is basically the same list that's listed on the follow list on diamondapp. So he suggested, why don't we start putting creators there who are actually engaging the community and helping the community, people who are active, rather than people who might have funded DeSo in the beginning and then kind of disappeared. Jordan replied, and he said he's definitely considering that. He thinks that's a good idea, and he asked for suggestions for people who should be on that list. So I think that it's great that he's listening. I totally agree with BitDads on this. I think that they need to at least change it up a little bit. Like maybe if they put some newer users on there too, so that newer users stick around because they're getting more engagement.
But like I think it should be more like a rotation. Like maybe have a list of 5 to 10 people to follow, but maybe include like 100 different users in that and have it randomly select them. So that
exactly, and I think it's important that they're engaged, people that are engaging, not people that have disappeared for a week or more. In this case, I think many of them disappeared for months. So great job, Bit Dads, for pointing this out. And thanks, Jordan, for listening and taking suggestions. And I'm looking forward to seeing a new revised follow list that might be kind of rotating.
Yeah.
But yeah, also OpenProsper, they had a big announcement this morning. As you know, they've been down for the last week or so, and they came back up a couple days ago. Salil pretty much stopped all work. He couldn't really add new features or pages during that time period, but now that it's back up, he's already began to do so. And today they launched a core team engagement page. And this basically really, really useful, probably one of the more useful pages I've found so far on OpenProsper, and pretty much everything they have is useful. It basically tracks all of the DeSo core team members. So whether it's Natter or whether it's Alex or Dylan Jagger Lee, Fast Freddy, and all the other ones, it tracks them and it puts all their actions in a stream. So whether they're making a post, a comment, they're liking or diamonding something, you can just see that all in a stream on OpenProsper now. So definitely check that out. Go to OpenProsper. It's one of the pages in the top upper right side. If you click on the menus, it's called Core Team Engagement.
Yeah, very cool new feature. I love that. And so what are the top hashtags from OpenProsper today, Brian?
Like the other days, are very similar. Number 1 is Ukraine again. Number 2 is DeSo. Number 3, a new one, iframe in a frame, which is something from Photographer's
Not
Corner.
iframe, it's just frame in a frame, right?
Frame it, yeah, yes, not iframe, frame in a frame. Number 4 is Wordplay by Dormesh, and number 5 is NFT.
What is frame in a frame?
Not really sure. I know that Photographer's Corner's the one who kind of pushed that out there. I didn't really have enough time to look at all the posts.
Hey, click the hashtag. So community events today, 10 a.m. Eastern time, crypto talks with Darian Parrish on Chime In. Definitely a great room to check out. You talk about a broad spectrum of cryptos and learn about cryptos, give your opinion, hear others.
Something I want to point out is that we should be doing this the day before, because a lot of the people that watch our video, it's too late by the time they get it.
We should be. So 11 a.m. Eastern time is a room called DAO white paper reading and Q&A. And that room's with DOZ. I know he set that up with Slava, Meredith Marcone, Rhubarb, Conchi, and several others. Brian and I will probably try and be there as well. It was a great room. They read the white paper. They read the DAO paper. I think it's a DAO white paper that they read, and then talk about it and exchange ideas. And at 7 p.m. Eastern time, there's another Entra Town Hall with Sean, Miriam, and Juan, as well as Michael. I don't know if this is a daily room or what they're doing, but it seems like every 7 p.m. on Entra, they're doing this. It's not related to DeSo. It's just, talking Entra, but Entra, of course, is one of the big nodes on DeSo, and they're integrating more with DeSo. So that's it. Have a great, happy 1-year DeSo anniversary, people. It's exciting, be a little more active today because of that. Let's get this community going.
Start engaging more.
Engage. And yeah, have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.